All right, camera up.
Huh?
You got 18 seconds before 59.
Yeah, I'm in the control studio. I'm waiting for it to
all
start broadcasting to the control studio.
It just said Phantom Flight 101 is live. 1 minute 2. I just got the alert. Damn, I'm supposed to be charging my phone. Let me know when you're going live. Kyla, can you put this to charge? All you have to do is take the magnetic piece and. Thank you.
What is going on?
All right, it's that time.
Yeah, but I'm waiting for it to come into the studio.
Yeah, that takes a minute. What? I'm going live. Oh. Well, let me move this beer can.
What the hell is going on?
I knew he was lit.
What the hell is going on?
It's taking a while to load up.
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry about it. It's just 5 o'clock.
Yeah, but I want it to go. It's telling me what? Connect stream software to preview.
What's that? Some new shit?
I don't know.
White plug over there. The biggest white plug over there. All right, then it's over there on the wall. I just put starting shortly.
I don't know what's going on with this.
It's the biggest one. Yeah. Because it's 25 watts. Okay. I just put starting shortly, having tech issues. We got 5 people waiting.
Hold on a second here. Why is it telling me that this won't?
Hey, Tom.
Hello, gentlemen. What's up?
Yeah, like it won't. It's not starting the stream to YouTube. It's saying that it is, but it's not.
Let me refresh this page.
Okay, guys, we seem to be live. They see us.
Where?
JSK Enterprises, I see him.
Okay, let me get out of this window because I don't see nothing.
Hello, everyone. We're having some technical difficulties.
Yes, we
here,
are
so
live. You're right. Phantom Flight 101.
we are live.
We are live. We are live, Herman. I don't know what's going on.
That is crazy how it's not streaming
JSK
to the YouTube window.
James Cruel Intentions. What's up, man? You back in New York? Or what?
Jackson RC, Welsh Rob. Good to see you.
We can see and hear you. Somehow YouTube seems to change the startup procedure as they do every 3 to 6 months. And
I don't think it's YouTube. I think it's Zoom, which was the problem that we were having the other day. When we were having that problem with Zoom.
But
now,
anyway,
right now
we are live. We've been live for the last few minutes, Welsh Rob says.
No, I understand that, but we don't have a.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
I said 6:45.
Well, here's what I'll do. I'll bypass it and just run it from here.
Yeah, go to the chat and
yeah, I pulled up the chat on another window. Let me.
All right, we got 9 watching.
Close out some things that are not necessary.
Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday Nights with those guys. Sorry for the tech problems that we're having, but shit happens.
Yeah, anyway. Sorry for that, everyone. I'm having a little problem here with Zoom. Lawrence and I had the problem earlier this week when we were trying to
meet private,
conduct a meeting about some things, but I don't know what's going on with Zoom. So we're gonna run it from here and see how it goes from here.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, like I said, how are you doing this evening, Tom?
Surviving. I guess our Christmas present's going to be we'll figure out who the president is by that point in time.
At least
I
by
figured
that.
I put it off till then. I mean, why stress out now?
Listen, I
Good evening.
went to bed last night saying to myself, no matter what, one of them's got to win.
You would think,
yeah, well,
right?
that's unfortunately how it works. The lesser of two evils, right? So yeah. So
yeah.
but other than that,
I can say one last thing political, and I won't say anything political anymore. Biden, I pray, wins, and not just because I'm of that party and I'm against the other party. It has nothing to do with that. But for the last 4 freaking years, my boss has been bitching every day. I mean, this guy's screaming, raving mad over our present leader. I can't go through another 4 years of that shit.
well, I'm just hopeful that our democracy holds out here, that we're not caught in the middle. I sometimes feel like a neglected child. With two parents, two parents that are constantly fighting, and I'm hoping that we get through it all as a more compassionate and understanding group of individuals that we want to call and put together and call the United States of America. Right now, it's hard to visualize a world where we are united, but I'm hoping at some point in time we get there. Quality of life.
You know what they say, right?
Quality of life is only good if everybody has it.
But you know what they say, right? I don't know what time frame it was from. For some reason, I seem to remember the Greek mythology and them saying that if everything was good, the world would explode. So
yeah, well, that's also the way I want to go in my sleep, right? Okay. Sleep, sex,
everybody say that?
Look, it's one of two ways. There's only two ways you ever want to go. Okay.
Yeah, this is true.
And one is fair to everybody, and one is fair to only to you. So
yeah, but the other way that you're thinking about is just like, look at the torment on that other person.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's only fair for you. But then again, we live in a very selfish society today. It's all about me, me, me instead of us, us, us. And
sad, but true.
Community. Look, I don't care who you vote for, but by not voting, you say a lot. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is the voting, it doesn't stop then. If whether you voted for the person or not, if you don't like what's happening in your community or you think there should be change, then you got to speak up. Okay? Don't wait for the next election. Okay, speak up.
Divided.
That's been that way since we've had 50 states.
True.
Yeah, people.
States. There's no union if states have different laws and can circumvent federal law and stuff like that.
Herman, not to interrupt, but here's something really quick that I've noticed. What? You know how you titled your live stream, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, it says Phantom Flight 101 live stream. So you're going to have to retitle that after the live stream.
All right.
Yep.
I just thought I'd point it out. But anyway, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Rob from Australia? Yeah. Herman and I were talking about, we're noticing that we're starting to develop a fan base from overseas. And we appreciate each and every one who comes and visits us from their side of the world. For example, it's 5:08 p.m. here, and it's about 5 or 6 a.m. in Australia right now.
Is it?
Yes. So we have, because Tim Jackson is always going to work.
He's always going to work. I just didn't know it was that early.
Right. I think it's about 6 a.m. there, because I know it's an hour off, but we appreciate each and every one of you. We have a couple of people who have started. It's 8:38 a.m. He says. Okay. All right.
It's 9:08. Okay. Yeah.
So it's at
8:08 a.m.
3 hours in the morning. AM, yes, MAM.
Okay.
Man,
No. That I understand. Where is he at? Sydney or is he on the
that
other
I couldn't
coast?
that I couldn't tell you. I think Rob is more in Southern Australia. Where are you at,
Because
Rob?
it's
Exactly.
9:08 a.m. in Sydney.
Adelaide.
Well, like I was saying, Lawrence,
Adelaide.
I don't know if so much of a fan base, but I'm more fans of some of the guys that come through here when I check out some of their videos and stuff like that. A
Oh,
lot
he
of
was
times
born
I'm
in Sydney.
running through videos. I can't get a chance to always leave a comment on everybody's videos. But
Yeah.
you know, a lot
Yeah.
of the guys that come in here put out some nice stuff. You know,
Yes,
that's why
and
I
hey,
said to
show,
you,
what's good?
and
And we appreciate it. You
the
have
guys
plenty of
that do
time to pick up
fly,
your mini too.
the guys that do fly you know, FPV, that's why I urge them to, you know, check out stuff like the film festival and even the guys that fly camera drones. Because if you had a ticket, you got those,
Welsh Rob.
you know, the seminars and stuff like that going on afterwards. But you know, and then you got like the drone racing league and stuff like that. I, you know, urge guys to go check that out, especially, you know, for the guys who fly FPV.
Right. And Welsh Rob says that it's 22:10 p.m. where he is. Okay. So that's more like the UK area. I'm thinking
Yeah.
I okay.
That is
How are
GMT.
you,
That
Dave
is
Minnis?
Greenwich Mean Time. So
Well,
Oh yes.
welcome.
remember, that's where everything starts as far as time
Mm-hmm.
goes, right? So,
Mm-hmm. And
Welcome.
and what's wild is in Adelaide, it's 8:40
Uh-huh.
a.m. So they're in they have a half an hour time zone down in Australia somewhere.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, everybody,
That's the
welcome to
wildest
Wednesday
thing.
night with those guys. Jackson RC. What's good, man? How's it going?
West Coast.
Yes.
But yeah, so now everybody's awaiting that Mini 2, huh? Everybody's gonna jump on that one tomorrow.
Well, you know, look, it can't be beat as your first drone in the arsenal, right? I mean, if you're just coming to the show,
Right.
the technology that's in that little Mini 2
Right.
blows away what we were flying back
And
not
you
too
know,
long ago
Oh, I
and if
believe it.
you
with
and if you
OcuSync 2 and
subscribe
4K 60.
and if you subscribe to Lawrence's theory, it is one of the best, you know, James Bond gadgets out there. Because you got a tie clip that, you know,
Listen,
you could throw it up in the sky and get shots.
shaken, not stirred.
Well, the Mini was
and
the Mini's a go everywhere, you know, throw it in your pocket, take it with you kind of drone.
the mini is no bigger than this carpal tunnel glove.
But I've seen guys put it in.
Wait a minute. Let me make it shorter. Here we go.
Now
I have one. I'll go grab it.
This is the size of the mini, and I'm not disrespecting. For people who are getting into drone flying and want to learn
It's
how to
not
fly
that
a drone,
small.
it's
It's
the
not that
best thing you could get. Seriously, it's just not my forte.
They're gonna be all like that in the next 30 years, Lawrence.
Stop.
Absolutely.
You gotta stop it. Stop it.
So when you wheel on out to the park,
Wheel out.
No, what
I
you're
told my
gonna do is you're gonna go out to the park and you're gonna release your swarm. Okay.
You know,
And they'll all fly all over the place.
you know what's funny? I told my daughter when I get older, I want a hovering wheelchair. And she was like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah, you're gonna look like Mike Tyson going down on the hoverboard. Okay?
I'm gonna be like this, wheeling or
Yeah.
wheeling, you just have to sit there and pretend that it's going forward and it'll go forward.
Look, a little bit of dementia, you can pretend anything, it happens. Okay.
Gee, thanks, Tom.
It's only a matter of time.
He said,
So my daughter just said call Allstate.
Yeah.
Call Allstate. Damn, for a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's because they plan to push him into traffic. That's why.
Listen, that's okay. That's all right. When it happens, she's gonna be, Dad, is there anything I can do? And I'm gonna be like, remember in 2020 when I asked for that hovering wheelchair?
Just all you gotta do, if they get you the electric one, just turn it off. Disconnect the battery, they won't be able to
Epic. Tell Tom we have 3 time zones in Australia. That's you know what?
I've always thought Australia was special. Okay, so
3 time zones.
Yes.
3 time zones. Yeah, they do.
That's pretty big considering we have 4.
First
So-
off, it's a huge continent. Okay.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean,
And one thing you don't do is, I mean, I watch a lot of RV stuff and all, and I get a kick out of the people who attempt to RV across Australia and realize how vast it really is, and how unprepared they are, and what kind of things live in that country. Okay,
a lot of poisonous shit.
well,
a lot of shit that'll kill you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you
right.
don't drive at night on those roads because the lights attract everything, and it's like, and we would call it a windshield here.
Mm-hmm.
If I saw somebody, they said they were trying to get somebody to help them, that they cracked their windshield, and they couldn't understand what they were talking about. Well, it's a windscreen over there, so it's different. It's different.
Okay. Same difference.
Rob, that's exactly.
But going across that country, that's a vast land, man. I'm a big fan of
Hey,
Down
Jump
Under.
Off, how are you? All right. Well, but now that we know we're live, and we've been live for a while, and we've been killing time. Hold on, I just got a message.
What happened?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you were saying something.
So Welsh Rob wants to go out and box a kangaroo. Yeah, kangaroos don't fight by the what is it, the Kingsbury rules. So you take one of those back paws to the lower section, you're not getting back up. So
no, that could be all she wrote.
Yeah.
If it don't cut you open.
Well, it at the very least you're going to be peeing into a bag for the rest of your life. So.
You think so? There's some guys that's pretty good. They got to be able to put some of it back in and reconnect some of the tubes and.
Yeah, modern. Look, Queensberry rules. Thank you very much. Appreciate the correction. Okay.
Well,
it's that shit where you kick the shit out of each other.
Well,
but you do it in a very orderly fashion.
All I know is that
I'm getting tired of these pop-up alerts.
There's very few places that I have a bucket list that I'd want to go. And one of them is Australia and the other is New Zealand. And New Zealand, because you remember watching Xena, the warrior princess, that stuff back then. Well, they filmed that in New Zealand, and I always thought the geography and the trees and the forest and everything was so vast. I had no idea while I was watching. Hey, Therese, that I was
Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Also, another great place.
The Shire.
They seem to shoot a lot of spectacular.
It's
movies.
A spectacular country. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But but see, it's also not a place where you jump on a plane and go down for 2 weeks, because the flight will really send you into a tizzy, and you need at least a good week and a half, 2 weeks to recover from that before you start worrying about flying back. So
right.
It's definitely the trip to take in a retirement mode.
Yeah,
you got plenty of time and you're not rushing to get back.
It's one of those places, Australia and New Zealand, like so many other places around the world, are 2 weeks. You don't even touch the outside of what you could see. I heard just to get to go visit the Great Wall of China, first of all, you have to get a hotel room in that vicinity. And you may have to fly there just to go visit it during the day.
So about the wall?
Yes.
Well, most people that go to the wall, my father's there. You're only gonna see a portion of it because that's where you are. You're not. You can forget about seeing the whole thing.
Yeah. That I know. Any part of the Great Wall of China, you can get to see it or fly it or anything. Take a picture. You're only going to see it small as far as your eye can see. That's
like I went down to the canal,
Panama Canal. That's another bucket list I'd love to see.
The train ride that I took over there was more impressive. Well, no, I'm not going to say that, but it was a lot to see with the train ride because it was a little,
Yeah, my keyboard's wobbling.
It was a little crazy.
The hell is going on?
There's a lot of junglist territory over there. Well, the last time I was there,
My keyboard's wobbling because the calculator was under it. I'm typing and it's going like this.
But
the flight time-
but it is something to see though, to watch how they pass ships through there.
It took Tim Jackson 32 hours from North Carolina.
Yeah, well, the
To get
flight
over
itself
this.
from JFK is about a 21-hour flight. Okay. But of course, you're talking about both ends of that, customs, everything else. That's a good 26 to 28 hours.
Wow.
So
that's travel.
Yep. And that's to Sydney. So Adelaide's a different story entirely. Okay.
That's travel.
Remember, they have three time zones there.
Yeah. That's
and you always get there. You always get there tomorrow.
Well,
okay. What's up, Tim Jackson? How are you, man? You made it to work safely, I take it. John Coopy, what's good with you? And everybody else lurking in the cut, because we have analytics, and analytics tells us there are more people.
Remember to hit that thumbs up.
Well, you want to know what? Analytics, YouTube has changed their setting, and analytics actually tells you how many people are live in the chat with you, interacting with you, compared to the number that's actually there. So you can actually calculate that there are actually more people lurking than there are in the chat, which is quite all right.
Oh yeah,
because I used to do that, and I still do it sometimes. What's up, John Coopy? How are you? Cherise, welcome. Australia and New Zealand are on my last 6 to live list. Yeah, that's the bucket list. Serious. Like, I just had a guy who was 99 years old jump out of a plane. He was in World War I
by himself
or something. No, he had someone on his back. He was too light. He would have blew away. he was tethered. And then after he jumped, he got to pin the wings on his grandson, who just became a pilot. I thought that was so cool. That dude would that he still, and he was a paratrooper.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
World War II.
Why you say the man would have blew away?
Yes. World War II. I'm sorry. World War II.
How you gonna say the man would have blew away?
He was frail. Because while falling, one of his legs, like when you fall, a lot of people don't know when you're tethered and you have someone tethered to your back. The objective is to keep your legs between their legs, which are spread, so he can gain control and control where you're falling. And the old guy's leg was like flapping in the wind. He just took it and pushed it back down. Like
that's why he had the guy who was jumping with him, who has been doing it consistently, and the man hasn't jumped in years. If he was consistently jumping, he would have probably been able to do it himself. But the land now, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, you don't go from walking down the block to jumping out of a plane. And that's
if you have the desire to do it, you can go up to Westchester County.
You have to take a course,
flight place. No, I'm saying there's an indoor
indoor
skydiving.
Make a mistake, hit the tube and be like this.
It's not the tide washer. It's not the tide washer. They have control over it.
No, thank you. I have to
commit. Lawrence, you got to commit, man. Stop.
I have a better chance, Tom.
Okay,
nothing around.
You ain't jumping out of plane anyway, Lawrence. Stop.
You're right, because I'd be afraid they didn't have a chute big enough to slow my ass down.
You said, Lawrence, I'm not jumping
later,
out
Tim.
A perfectly good plane.
Tim, take it easy. Listen.
Later, Tim.
I believe man has accomplished flying. Man did accomplish and beat flying. I still don't believe he should be up there, but a bucket list would be to jump out of a plane. I thought hang gliding in one of those gliders would be my thing, but no, I'd have a stroke on the first loop.
How about glider?
That's another thing. In a glider,
just go out to Calverton. Go out to the island.
I could they'd still do that out on the island.
Lisa,
seriously?
yeah. The Long Island Soaring Association.
I remember
you can catch a ride. You can catch a ride for less than $100. It's an amazing thing. It's true flight dynamics. I mean, it's catching Mother Nature's currents of air.
How high they take you up?
Well, there's a couple of ways. Number one, of course, is they can pull you, they can tow you, right?
Mhm.
But there's also now catapult systems.
Right. You're
So
going
the
to
catapult
catapult
system-
Lawrence into the sky?
Well, the catapult system is basically what almost looks like a
This-
fork truck or at the end of the runway, but it's got a long cable on it, and
Right.
it's got a capstan, and basically it slingshots you up, and you catch the first current of air, and you
Mhm.
start to ride it. It's amazing. You talk
So-
about quiet. It's quiet. Herman.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, after we stuffed your ass in there, you would love it, dude.
Tom,
You
you're trying to
would
convince
freaking love it,
Lawrence
dude.
of this.
You make it sound like they're gonna have two shoehorns.
This
on
is the guy
the glider.
who
No, you know why I'm saying
get
that?
in the
Because he's going
pool.
to be kicking and screaming.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, if I was saying
Until we
you're
close
trying
that
to convince-
canopy,
you're trying
and
to
they
convince
take off,
Lawrence, he's the
his
guy
jaw
that
is going to
really
drop.
get-
He's just
I would
gonna
do
be
it. I would do it. I would get in
Get
the
this
glider.
straight. You'll get in the glider, but you won't get in the pool.
Let me explain something. Scientific fact, and they've already proven it, that people have come back to life after drowning for periods of time. Your brain is still functional.
But
For
if you
about
crash
30,
into the
you have
earth
up to
at terminal velocity,
27
you ain't coming back.
You have up to 27 to 30 minutes where your brain is still active and your body's
All right.
floating there, and you can't move, but you can still see what's going on.
You ever heard?
I don't
You ever
wanna-
heard that
I don't want to go that way.
nonsense?
You
You
do
ever
buy
heard-
into that, huh?
You ever heard that nonsense? It's
Tom,
not the
it sounds
fall
good
that
to me,
kills
Tom.
you.
And
It's not
I'll,
the
I'll
fall that kills you.
look,
but
3
it's
chicken
the
legs,
stop.
and if you
Don't
dance
believe
in a
that.
circle long enough, okay, you'll see the afterlife too. Okay.
Listen,
Believe
all I
me,
know
if
is
that parachute on your back doesn't work, you're falling at the same speed of not having one. So it's not.
listen, I would get in,
It
I would,
doesn't.
Stop.
No, you're 100% correct. It doesn't increase your terminal velocity. Okay, the non-working chute on your back doesn't increase your terminal velocity. So you're not any worse off. We'll put it right.
do you guys have any damn
So what
drone
I'm
news?
saying to Lawrence is that if you won't get in the pool, but you would jump out of a plane or get in the glider, you good. All right.
Listen,
All right.
I would probably
What's the
have a
matter?
stroke.
Lawrence
I'd
won't get in
probably
a
have
pool?
a stroke before I
Don't
went
go in the water
splat.
at the beach and go in-
Herman, I'd probably have a stroke before I went splat anyway.
Lawrence
straight.
won't get in the pool.
The,
What's
the
up with that?
10-foot diving board, you wouldn't jump off of that, but you jump out of a plane.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Tom,
Yeah, go
and
ahead, tell
anyone out there in the world, and my friends, if you're drowning, I will not jump in after you. to
Oh, we're
save
shit
you.
out of luck, huh?
I will not jump in to save your ass. I'm letting you know right now. I can't swim.
Now wait a second. Wait.
Oh, Bob.
You went to school.
I went to a
for
school for oceanography.
oceanography.
Past
Yeah.
swimming.
My
Just
ass
let-
can't swim.
I
That
passed
there wasn't a
swimming.
question on the thing.
No,
My
no,
ass can't
Tom.
swim.
Hold on, Tom.
Yeah.
One of the requirements for graduating the School of Oceanography was to know how to swim. Here's the
Hmm.
catch. I'm 6'3". In high school, I was like maybe 5'11", 6 foot.
What's up, Bob?
And the pool was only a 4-foot pool. Hey, Bob Casey. Okay, it was 4 foot deep. And by the time I dived in, you know how you torpedo? And
Yeah.
I went 1, 2, I was on the other side of the pool. And the teacher saw that as swimming, and I passed. That's all I'm
So-
gonna say.
So they
didn't
make
see
you
get
take.
out the pool
They make
dry.
you take the
Broke neck.
test. They make you take the test in a kiddie pool, and that's your
That's how
claim
they
to
taught
fame.
us to
Then,
swim, and it was a prerequisite to graduating. And all I can
Dude.
say is,
Lawrence, the fact that you were dry when you got out the pool didn't indicate to
Yeah.
him you were just scared.
no, nothing. Right? I went to Navy boot camp, and I picked to go to Orlando, Florida. Okay, because they were running a recruit training center down there. Because winter was coming, and my choice was the Great Lakes
Mhm.
or Orlando, Florida. And the Great Lakes are known to have lake effect snow, you know,
Yeah.
12 feet of snow on the ground constantly. So I picked, to go to Orlando. And for our swim qualification test,
Mhm.
who would think that you'd need to build an indoor pool in Orlando? But when we took our test in the outdoor pool, it
Mhm.
was 22 degrees out.
Wow.
wow.
So we had to jump in with our seafarer jeans. We had to take them off in the pool. We had to clip the two legs. We had to splash water into the trousers.
See, already you're in the water too long.
And then twist them, stick those between your leg, and then float on your back for a half an hour.
See, Tom.
And that's how. And if you didn't, you wound up getting taken out of your recruit company and put into a special company that they nicknamed the Rocks. No, they nicknamed it the Rocks. Okay. And you could spend up to 12 weeks in the Rocks company before they'd finally discharge your ass if you couldn't pass the swim test, which they would put you through that every day until you passed it, then put you back into a company and finish boot camp.
See,
so
not cool.
Well, when you're out at sea, Lawrence, you want to make sure at least you can stay up long enough that they can sight you. Okay? They might not be able to save you, but you're hoping they can tell your folks they know where they lost you.
Tom. Okay? I can barely tread water. And if I knew there was no land below me, I'd probably tread water even less because I'd panic. But I don't play with large bodies of water, and Herman knows this. Let's get into some drone news before you guys.
You know, they do make submersible drones now, right?
Huh? Before they make this about me, I posted a video on those guys this week. The guy had a Cinewhoop at the bottom of the pool, and he powered it up, and it hit the top of the water and took off from the bottom of the pool.
Even got to get in the water no more.
Listen.
So check it out.
Do not rely on me to jump in the water after you. I'm making this known.
Friend or foe.
I don't give a damn who you are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're on your own.
You have a better chance of grabbing something and floating on that than you do of me saving you.
Well, yeah, like I said, the 2020 multi-GP championship sponsored by Race Day Quads. Check it out. Race Day Quads.
Yes, this is.
No, I'm not paid sponsored by Race Day Quads. I'm just
neither
saying.
is those guys.
But you're not.
Yeah. Sponsored. They're sponsoring the multi-GP championship.
The 2020 multi-GP drone racing championship. Yes.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
They changed their venue. And they had to change the venue.
Who controls it?
Happened that the venue that they had at the Daytona Stadium, somehow there was a change in management, which somehow voided the what they had, the agreement that they had. So they had to relocate it to what's this here, Volcare Airport in Palm Bay, Florida.
Yes.
So like I said, the the 2020 multi-GP drone racing championship presented by Race Day Quads. Well, actually, it's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it begins tomorrow and runs through Saturday.
This is the Pro Series. Yeah, it runs through Saturday.
Yes.
Up until 5 p.m. 5 p.m. So the tickets are $150.
Yes.
Now for the Pro Class Series, I guess the first prize is $4,000.
$10,000.
No, $4,000. No, the purse. The whole purse is $10,000.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And the second place is $2,000. And you got third place is getting $1,250. So
fourth place is $1,000.
Nice little.
But you have to. What you also got to mention is they will have two ranks of pilots.
Well, this is the Pro Series.
Yes. That's the Pro class. I'm sure there'll be other brackets and stuff where you can enter and fly yourself. But that's what I was mentioning. They'll have the Pro Series, and they'll have what they call the Top 200 Series, which are the top 200 people after going through an extensive bracket system. So that sounds like they plan on having a lot of people qualify.
Well, they have the schedule posted where they're doing the round robins, basically. So
yes,
this is the link.
You can see
three venues.
You can see this is the link. You can see when, what day, etc., etc. How much it is? I think Herman said it's $150.
what are they? I got it here listed somewhere. Tickets, I've lost it.
Yeah, tickets are
It
$150.
should be in there on the that link.
On that link that I
Yes,
posted, everything is
$150.
there.
The tickets are $150.
Which, by the way,
Don't
I
worry, it
must
includes a
say,
T-shirt.
for a weekend of
It's not a bad little deal.
believe it or
If you're
not, that
local,
race day quads GP that they're having, I'm noticing is getting bigger and bigger. I remember hearing of them last year, and it wasn't half as large, and they were almost considering canceling because they couldn't take all of the people. So this year, I'm glad to see they have a much larger venue. They will actually have 2 tracks. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the size of some of these tracks that they compete in, but I'm guessing they have a 5-inch class track, 5-inch and up, and then they'll have the micros.
I thought they had a pretty good venue to begin with, but like I said, the from my understanding is that there was a change in management and somehow they lost the spot, which is kind of weird.
Now, keep in mind, they do mention that they will separate the top 200. Out of those 200, I don't know how many people are qualifying and will be trying to compete, but if they limit it to 200, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of brackets. That's a lot of races. That's a lot of crashes.
Well,
I would like to see something this big, seriously.
like
Eligibility of pilots ranked within the top 200 on the global list as of September 8th, 2020 are eligible to attend the 2020. Okay, I misunderstood. If you're ranked in the top 200 pilots in the world,
right,
they're saying
that's
you can
the only
still
way
race.
you're in.
They're saying you can still race. Now, the first 24 pilots not ranked in the top 200 on the global list will qualify times. Okay. I was misunderstanding. I was correct the first time. I'm sorry. Reading is fundamental. They will limit it to a top 200 there. If you are considered a professional pilot and you do make the top 200, you still qualify.
You'll be all right.
You'll be all right. No, I won't. But anyway, if you look at this page, there's a schedule for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And this Thursday starting at 8 a.m. on both tracks, the Northwest track and the Southeast track. I wish I could be there to experience all of these people racing FPV. But
maybe you can race next year.
No, not happening.
Or get your Xbox, get your DRL.
Hey, Newfound
game.
How are you?
And start qualifying for the big leagues.
So yeah, next up we had what was it? Honeywell is partnering up with Pipistrel. Now, you remember the Nuva V300, that cargo UAV?
The largest cargo in the world?
We talked about it on Wednesday night with those guys.
Yes. Can I share?
14th. Yeah, sure you can. But let me. There you go.
Unfortunately, this is the largest picture that they'll let me show.
What?
But this one right here. And for those of you who don't know, Herman did do a live stream on this cargo plane right here, this cargo drone right here. It is till date the world's largest cargo plane, drone cargo.
Well, yeah,
hybrid. Yes, right. You have to say hybrid.
You know,
in the world,
and the altitudes that it can reach. But let me go through this.
8,000. Yeah, go
ahead.
Basically,
what happens is here with this setup that here, Pipistrel has selected to use Honeywell's fly-by-wire system.
Yeah.
For this bird, for the Nuva V300.
Okay.
You know, as the brains to the aircraft's flight controller. So it'll operate it electronically with this fly-by-wire system that has been developed by Honeywell.
Well,
I just thought that was interesting because I mentioned the story and I knew they were working with this thing and they were pushing to get this thing out there so it can be used.
Okay.
They had been going through.
So basically, the fly-by-wire system, it's a computer that's has artificial intelligence that is handling all the calculations that are necessary for the autonomous flight.
I need to make an announcement really quick. For those of you who are on Facebook and have Rodney Bell as a friend, I believe his account was hacked. And what I mean by his account was hacked is Rodney Bell and I don't communicate much, but when we do, we do. And I just got a message from him right here saying, I think you appear in this video. Look at it. Now, for those of you who don't know about phishing, if you click on that particular link, all I can say is they're going to ask you to sign into password, and then you will become hacked. Don't do it. If you're a friend of Rodney Bell, let him know his Facebook account has been hacked, and the best way to repair that is to actually go in and change the password. I've been doing it for years. I used to do internet tech, internet security. That's the best way you can kick that hacker out of your current Facebook account if you don't want to create a new one. Go into your Facebook account if you remember the password and change it. Okay, public service announcement. Sorry about that, but I never get a message from Rodney in the middle of a live stream.
This system seemed, it said it was found in a few planes that this same system is in.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but that's the hybrid you're talking about.
No, the Honeywell's fly-by-wire system, like Tom was saying, is the brains of their flight control system. It's a computer.
Yeah, the reason they're partnering with Honeywell is because Honeywell has a great deal of experience in this realm. And they've created a very small package, very efficient system. And of course, the underlying thing here is your profit margins. The more efficiently you can fly that aircraft from point A to point B with your cargo, the larger your margin is going to be as far as your revenue. So these are strategic, okay? And they're always, I mean, when you're talking big business, they're always fiscally based. But it's a proven system. Honeywell has been producing military grade product for a very, very long time.
They don't own thermostats.
And that's why, no, actually, that's not their big business. Okay. They are one of the largest military contractors in the entire world. And that's where Pipistrel's been around a real long time too. Okay. They've used Honeywell systems in their aircrafts for many years. So this was a natural partnership.
I'm just curious to see where this goes and where they go with the actual, with that design that they came up with for Uber, for the taxi.
Well, I think that you're going to see more in the unmanned area because of the liability and insurance regulations and all of that. I think you're going to see a larger growth in the cargo arena with unmanned aerial systems, much quicker than you're going to see with unmanned transport.
Right.
Okay.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's just a smart. It's a smart path to take at this point, and you got to build reputation, you got to build reliability, and now to operate these systems, you got to build to various CFR parts. To make sure that you're compliant with aircraft suitability, adaptability, and reliability regulations. The aircraft now are going to have to be certified.
Right, but that's why the FAA is now, with these guys are getting type certification for their aircraft.
Type certification. It's just like, you can't produce an aircraft, a registered aircraft, without meeting type certification. Right. Okay, you can't build a Cessna aircraft without it. And once you have that, you can't alter it without going back to the feds and saying, hey, I made this change or that change, and now you have to go through testing on it. So there's a lot involved in type certification. Airworthiness is one component of that.
Well, the reason why I mentioned this, like I said, because this thing here, when I first brought it up, it was a lot closer to being reality than most. And now when I hear this, I'm like, well, I'm waiting to see it passing by now.
Yeah.
Well, you know, just look at the marketplace right now. There's a prediction that I think it was Polaris market research who came out with it and said that the medical drone community is estimated market worth of $947 million by the year 2027. That's
Really?
around the corner.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That might change.
I mean, that can increase dramatically.
Within that.
You're talking about $1 billion market right there. Okay. And we're only talking one aspect. We're talking medical drones.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one aspect. Okay. We're not talking about other commerce at this point.
Right.
So if you're just looking at the medical side of the fence being worth $1 billion in the next 7 years or less, imagine what the total market share is. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunities out there for the right companies right now.
Okay.
You know what? I encourage and welcome all of it because it's going to get to a time and point here in the United States where whether you want to learn or not, you're going to learn something about a drone and you're going to be forced to because you're going to have to be involved with the drone at some time and point in your life. Just like the older people that resisted against cell phones and you have to convert with
Some
technology.
of them still do.
You have to adapt to technology because if you don't adapt, you will be left by the wayside.
Well, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, Lawrence. Not to cut you off, sorry about that. But
No,
that's why they said that the average age of person on YouTube has increased because of needing to know how to do something. Because when you were younger, or, like how these kids today could just jump on it and like, well, this all you gotta do is this, you do that. Hey, you were like that 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I think it's called, what is it?
You're right.
I'm trying to think of the correct phrase here.
You see what Bob Casey wrote? Go ahead, Tom.
It's necessity is the mother of invention. I'm old, but I didn't come up with that. Okay, that's for those of you that have never heard that. That's exactly what Herman just said.
It's funny that Bob Casey. You need to come back here more. I want you to come back to the live streams because you asked one of the most intelligent questions I've seen in a while on those guys, and that is anyone worried about remote ID? Hell no. And I say I'm not worried about it, and I'm speaking only for me, and let me read the disclaimer. The views and opinions that are heard tonight are not necessarily the views and opinions of everyone on the panel and or in the chat. But me personally, I welcome remote ID. I think it's necessary in order for these drone companies as well as us drone pilots to move on to the next phase of whether you want to keep this as a hobby or go back to flying kites.
Well, like I said,
hey, Brent.
I know we need it. Hey, Brent Arias, what's good, man? We need remote ID. The only issues that I have with it, most people don't seem to understand. Remote ID is asking us to do the same things that they complained about with DJI. And when you have that constant internet connection, you have so much of a chance of so much issues of your information going wherever.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say on it. But as far as something that is necessary, we need remote ID. Man, I live in New York. I see some things.
I plan on having my 107 by the end of the year. JSK, it'd be the best move you can make. You know why? Because even if you're not planning on doing this, there's going to be a flood of freaking 107 pilot jobs coming up with these companies introduce, you may get your foot in the door. I'm not going to say you're going to go from flying your DJI to flying a 3,000 pound drone. No, but your avenues are opened up more in the drone business and society / world than they are if you were not a 107 pilot. And eventually YouTube will get to the point where if you do not have a 107 pilot, you cannot show drone videos. This is rumored. You cannot show drone videos and get monetized, get money from YouTube if you're not a
So
1-7 pilot.
So Bob, look, remote ID is inevitable. It's
just like Lank or Lance
it's
was.
necessary. It's necessary also in order for UTM to work. And I am of the same belief you are, Bob, that I'm okay with it as long as the common Joe doesn't get to see my email address, phone number, and place of residence. I agree with you. My analogy would be the license plate on your car. The same thing. Anybody can read it. Anybody can read it. Anybody can identify it. Anybody can say, "Hey, that was a Honda with New York State license plate, Adam Zebra John 124." Right. But they can't look up in the DMV registry and find all your information.
They don't have access to that data.
No. So as long as it works that way, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's a necessary, it's a necessary evil if you want to look at it that way. But it's something that in order for this whole traffic management system to function properly and to take the reins off of, our inability to leverage drones to the extent they could be leveraged, you need it. It's here. It's going to happen, and it's probably going to be a Christmas present from the FAA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a little late, but it'll get there.
Can I intervene? Because Bob Casey put in the chat, the remote ID, Brent, that was Brent Ariels. This is Bob Casey, the guy that might want to check his app and get my location. He might want to rob me is in for a surprise.
Well, yeah. Well,
we are hoping. We don't quote us on this, and I will speak personally for myself. But I honestly believe remote ID, like you guys also agree, should be for law enforcement only.
Well, it's different tiers, right? Different tiers of access as far as what you can see.
First off, and I've listened to, I've listened to what guys have reported that it's not going to be.
Yeah.
When I saw this originally, the FAA felt they stood firm on that it was going to be seen. Now I heard out of the horse's mouth, Mr. Dixon, say that it is going to be seen. So we keep saying that we hope, and people keep saying that it's not, but I don't know. I know what the horse's mouth said.
Right. But
look,
I worry about
so Jump Off says, hey, you can look up my information. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
There are ways
if you hunt long enough, you can find it, right? But it's unlikely to happen at time and place. Okay.
Right.
So what I'm concerned about is, look, if you want to see me on your app, it should say that's a Mavic 2 Air up in the sky.
Correct.
And it's being flown. It's being flown. It's registered and it's being flown recreationally.
Right. Okay. Telemetry should say he is a registered. Hey, Fly Girl. Telemetry should say that is a registered drone pilot, and he is flying within FAA regulations. That's all it should say. But for a lot of people think remote ID is going to be like, well, and this is
so Fly Girl, you're 100% correct. Fly Girl said there's two different forms of it that are in the NPRN. Okay.
What's up, Eddie Nunez?
There are different forms of it, and so look, it's going to be out sooner than you think.
Right.
Okay?
Listen, it's inevitable.
Then any cloak of mystery will be gone as to what it can and cannot do at this point in time.
We don't know.
Like everything else, it evolves.
Right, and that's what they have been saying for the longest time. Even when I watched the thing what they had with the seminar with the people from the advisory committee, even the people on the advisory committee, they don't know what's going to happen on the 31st. The most that you do know that's going to happen on the 31st is this is coming. Flight at the regulations for flight at night and over people, those will be here on the 31st. You're getting a 3-piece gift for Christmas from the FAA.
Yeah. Well, again, right? Bob is saying, what he's really concerned about is he knows it's coming, right? But he's worried about the delivery drones, basically subjecting us to only being able
Michael
to
Blade.
fly in this park or that park. I agree, and I'm concerned about that too. And I really feel
we all are, but in the same.
I believe what's going to happen, and this is my prediction for the future. Okay, and not of those guys. My prediction of the future is basically that there will be sectors of airspace carved out for commercial drone flight. And there will be sections of airspace that continue to be reserved for recreational flyers.
Exactly.
And it might also mean that manned aviation might be giving up some airspace. Okay? So remember, money talks, right? And BS walks. If the unmanned cargo delivery systems, or we'll put it this way, unmanned logistics systems function and produce revenue at the scale they believe it will, manned aviation will be giving up some airspace. Okay?
Well, there's a lot
that's my belief.
They will have
so
to.
I really feel that we might keep 0 to 300 feet or 0 to 400, and commercial drone traffic might operate within the 5 to 700 foot range. And of course, there'll be corridors. Just like, you look at any sectional map, you'll see everything has a corridor. It's a traffic map. Okay? So that's what I think. That's my prediction.
I think that pretty much we will be okay. They could have told you that you weren't getting a damn thing.
True.
From day one.
Of course.
That and it would have been cut and dry and over with. So I don't think that we're going to be with nothing.
It's very true, and I have to stress this, and I have to stress this highly. Everybody was saying, Lance, I don't want to agree. I don't like Lance. They're going to tell us how high we can go and stuff like that. Going to know where we are, what altitudes. They're going to restrict where we're flying. Well, let me tell you something. We've been using Lance for the last 2 years, and it is telling us how high we can go. And there have been very minimal casualties or accidents involving Lance because it's working. Now, the same way you felt about Lance, remote ID's coming, whether you like it or not. The thing is what they're going to do with our information. This is an analytical world.
It's the same thing.
Forget it. You lost that battle already, okay?
Yeah, it's the same thing that has
Say hello to Siri, Alexa.
Yeah,
that's
but it's the same thing that's been going on.
But Herman, that's the point I'm making. Everyone's bitching about remote ID, and you've given it up. Where's my phone?
Gave it up a long time ago.
You've given it up with your cell phone, your computer,
your
smartwatch, your headphones, all of this stuff.
No, but if you ever read the fine print in all of those things, you can ask the company not to share your information.
Excuse me. You're talking about an end user license agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Terms of service, TOS.
Some of them are smart enough that it forces you to scroll down before clicking.
Make sure that you read.
So this way, no, forget it. You didn't read it. You didn't read it. You
scrolled through 700
okay, congratulations.
pages. 700 pages of stuff.
No, but they're going to say that you saw
congratulations, you scrolled.
Right. Okay. No, they can argue you saw it.
Yeah, of course they can.
Because you had to scroll through it.
You scrolled.
You ever tried
to take the time to look? We even brought you there to drink the water.
Did you ever try reading it?
Drink? Huh?
Have you ever tried reading it?
I've written some end user license agreements.
Hey,
believe me, they can be extremely tricky.
I tried reading that thing one day, and I wasn't sure what I was there for after a while.
Well, that's it. It should be ordered bedtime reading. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. That will put you to sleep. Reading any TOS, terms of service, agreement, and like you said, Tom, now they force you to agree to the terms of service because iPhone does it, Android does
Even
it.
Hold
on. In order to use their phones, you have to agree to their terms of service. And if you try to scroll down on your phone, it scrolls in maybe 2 to 3 seconds. But if you try to read that, that's 700 plus to 1,000
Look.
pages that you would never read regularly.
How many people wanted to improve their grammar? How many people wanted to write a good report
And use autofill?
No, forget about it. Use Grammarly.
ABQ, what's good,
Use
bro?
Grammarly. So
Yeah.
not only are you going to sign up for an account, because you know the Frio account only gets you so far. Okay, you still sound like a dope. Okay, and you don't want to sound like a dope when you're writing. So you pay for additional services. They own you. They basically now have access to everything you write, whether it's a text message. Do you understand how Grammarly works? Text message, Word document. I'm going into my financial program.
Your phone contact, your camera. It wants access. Now, what I want to know is Grammarly is for you to learn how to speak and pronounce and all of that stuff.
No,
what the hell do you need permission to my camera for?
No.
Or my contact list?
Honestly, truthfully speaking, the best thing that Grammarly is for your punctuation. Because if you can't speak, you just can't damn well speak.
True.
Well, wait a second.
Know the proper words.
That's true. You've all heard Dumb Donald from Fat Albert.
Yeah.
You were going with Bieber in trouble.
Who punctuates text messages anymore?
No, I'm just saying if you're writing a letter or you're writing something.
If you're writing a business report, if you're writing something for school, if you're writing, but it's all data mining. It's all, we got you. You're in the hive, buddy.
Oh yeah.
No matter what you eat, breathe. Look, you go into the supermarket and using your Apple Pay card, you just told them what you use, what you like, how often you buy it, and how to predict the next time they need to show you an ad for it or an ad similar to that to take you down another stream.
I know how this works.
Data science,
I've been bombarded with a whole lot of.
I like big data, and I shall not lie. Okay.
Since I've been home, I've been bombarded with a lot of stuff. Yeah. Trust me, I've been hitting the head.
That's true. Herman has experienced some stuff since he's been home. Herman has experienced, and this is sad that he was telling me some of this stuff, but being handicapped is effed up because Herman is handicapped due to him having the operation on his foot or whatever, but he has actually got to put on the shoes of being handicapped and to see some of the, if you were to hear some of the stuff,
it's not all about the close parking spot.
Listen, it's not all about close parking spots. Handicapped people may get attacked by non-handicapped people.
So I've seen people are vicious.
Oh, please. Society's always damn vicious.
Says Herman.
Okay.
So about the lady that you got that?
Oh.
You got to hear this, Tom, and everyone in the chat.
I got the crutches, and I'm trying to open the door at the bank. So I open the door, and I put the crutch there so I can get my body in position to get into the. She walks right in, puts her hand, you got it, and walks in. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. You're welcome.
She might as well have kicked the crutch that was holding the door.
No, it's sad. It's sad. Okay.
Then the other guy with his car, and he put it in the handicap spot. I was like, yo, my man, he was like, the car's handicapped.
The car's handicapped.
Oh, okay.
He said
I normally see.
Yeah.
When I see somebody without handicap plates with a permit in the window, I always justify it by telling my wife they're mentally handicapped. Okay. So,
I'm good. But I've seen some things. But yeah,
it's funny because out in Vegas, there's we go to this particular shopping mall not far from us in Henderson.
Okay.
And I've noticed that they employ retired cops to give out handicap spot parking tickets.
Okay.
Okay. And they walk around with a thing that says volunteer enforcement. Okay. And they actually give out $150 tickets if you're parked in a handicap spot. And I thought that was a great thing to do.
The crap I get sometimes for being in a wheelchair is nuts, Welsh Rob says. Rob, it's unacceptable.
You know what? It's ignorance. It's ignorance. Okay?
But
it's
some
ignorance
of the
for the plight others have to go through because people are so damn self-centered. That's what it comes down to.
Me.
Yeah.
Someone's crossing the street. What does the driver do? Get mad because they have to slow down for the person crossing the street. I've seen a lot.
The person jaywalking or the person crossing the street?
No, person was crossing the street. They had the light, and because they could not turn, the person blew the horn at the person to hurry up.
Yeah, it's always effective.
And living in New York, you see that a lot. Walk a mile in someone else's shoes. You're right, Joe. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand, but we need to get back to drone news.
Well, you're going to find out a little bit why.
I think that hover wheelchair will make all the difference, though. Okay.
I'm working on it, Tom. I'm working on it, dude.
Well, you
got real powerful ESCs, bigger motors. I think we can pull this off. Either that or we got to fly Herman with balloons. One or the other.
Okay? I don't have no problem. But yeah, talking about remote ID, the Department of Justice reported on some drone violations. Now, these here reports have come from across the country between October of 2019 and September of this year. Now, they have staked out many events. And matter of fact, I know that for a fact that
someone was arrested during the Super Bowl.
Sean from Geeks Vana had interviewed a gentleman who works with drone detection software
over in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK, and they've mentioned that they've even, had some experiences over there, but they have staked out places like the Super Bowl in Miami, New York City's Times Square celebration.
They did catch someone.
Well, they did, but talking about that, the World Series, and even in Washington D.C. itself, which is a total no-fly zone.
Yes,
where they have detected people who were flying drones. Now the FBI has reported that more than 200 drones unlawfully flying in national security airspace. Now, they've had
they're called NSSEs.
Right, a dozen confiscations, which means that most of the people are actually getting away with it.
Yeah, and this is
why we asking for remote ID.
Remote ID. Yes.
Things like this, we can't have this, because this is what makes it harder for the guys who want to fly and are willing to fly, in accordance to the law, and the guys who get Lance approval to fly in different places. They're making it harder for you.
Makes it tougher.
It's like.
But what's going to be sobering is when the pandemic is brought under control and all of these large events start happening again.
You know how many more drone pilots there are?
Well, you know what? They're going to be in for a rude awakening, because don't think DOJ, which includes the FBI, and then other entities such as Homeland Security and local law enforcement, hasn't upped their game in this arena.
Of course.
While everybody's been asleep.
You're going to
New York City. Exactly. We know.
You know that. We know. It happened here first, right? I mean, the guys with jumped out of the cars with the tinted windows and the nondescript, battle dress uniforms, and you just lost your drone for 90 days while somebody figured out what was going on. So this is they're honing their efforts. Okay, you're talking about large scale events here, and look, you're flying Times Square during New Year's Eve. You got to get locked up. Okay, you got to get locked up. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, they said they're going to be out in full force.
Oh yeah.
And they even they even talk about smaller venues as well. That They mentioned this from before, that they were going to be staking out areas where it's known that drone pilots are flying rogue missions.
Yeah, so it's not just a matter of flying rogue, right? A matter of having your $1,500 drone confiscated. But now imagine the feds confiscate your drone at one of these national security events.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're not talking about a $1,500 drone anymore. And forget about the possible $10,000 fine and possibly, some criminal charges. Think about what your lawyer's bill is going to cost. Okay, that really should be the thing that wakes you up, because you're not going to get out of that cheap. Even if they go, no big deal. 6 months to a year later, you're still looking at a stiff legal bill. Right. So, it's something to keep in mind. I mean, I'm nobody's drone police. You want to go break the law, but that's on you. And ignorance will not be your defense. Okay?
This is true.
It's not going to work.
Right, because remote ID is going to be set up to where it should technically be done like this. When you buy a drone in a store, and we've discussed this before, you buy a drone in a store, a prosumer grade drone. I'm not talking a Matrix.
Well, we're not talking the Mini.
Right. Well, no, we're not, because it's under the requirements. But even people
under the requirements,
those should still be able to take a test. You remember here in New York, in order to fly, DJI had a questionnaire on their app. You remember they had that?
Yeah, remember.
And in order to activate or fly, you had to answer this questionnaire and get 90.
Well, that was their legal eagles saying, hey, before we assume all their liability, okay, prove beyond a doubt there is no ignorance on their part that they need to follow these rules. And that's corporate liability.
Yes.
That's risk. That's risk management.
I still don't see why it can't be registered from the time of purchase.
Oh, wait. Okay, so we've been so successful registering firearms. Let's now branch out into drones, okay? And we can't even get the dangerous shit registered.
You know what? I'm going to mute my mic now.
Okay? Look. If you want to legally own a weapon,
firearms out there than drones.
But we all know it's not the legal firearms that are screwing us over right now, okay?
True.
Sure,
not the legally registered firearms.
Every single illegal firearm was purchased legally.
No, I don't believe that.
Sure.
Okay. No, sure. I don't believe that, because there's
Where is he taking them out the back of the factory?
You're saying that an American factory going out the back door? No, but they don't have to come from here. Okay. And there are plenty of weapons brought in across borders also. Okay. Look, you can go to a gun convention and buy something over a counter. Okay. But we can't get you to register a drone at Best Buy when you buy it. I'm sorry. That I agree with you. There should be a simple fill out this card. Okay. You took your credit card out for this. It's another $5. You're now registered.
Simple.
Okay.
The serial number's on the box. We just scan, whoop. It's in there. You're registered. The card will come to you in the mail.
You shouldn't be allowed to buy DJI Care unless you registered your drone.
I agree. Because there's a lot of people out there who had DJI Care, and they, when the time comes up, they go out and something happens to their drone and they get a new one. That's all I'm saying. I've seen a few cases like that. That's all.
Well, remember, you got to come back with the pieces. That's why I like that drone that can fly underwater. There's never an excuse now. You can't recover your drone to send in the pieces to DJI, right?
You're right, but think about this, Tom.
My drone would hit a
think
rock
about
and
this,
the battery
Tom. Depending on when you hit that water and your battery life, or if your battery discharges, your battery separates, will you have enough power to get out of the water?
Well, I'm selling, guys. I have this new battery retention kit. By the way, if you want to order them from me, I'm charging $1.95. My profit margin's not bad. It's a half cent tie wrap. Okay. But for $1.95, I'll package it in an envelope and send it to you. Okay.
Listen.
Except you better buy enough. They're not reusable tie wraps. Okay. Got to know my market.
You're right, Matt. But like what Tom was saying is just like when you go to these gun shows or to a gun store, or you have to go through certain things.
Yeah.
Well,
Matt, big businesses don't want the responsibility. Exactly. They just want you to buy the product. That's exactly why DJI had that little quiz on there, because they didn't want to own your liability when you did something stupid with it. They wanted to say, hey, he had to pay. He knew.
Yeah, he knew.
He took these 10 questions that proved he understood.
He knew,
you're not supposed to do that stupid shit, but
exactly,
they did it anyway. So that's on them. Ignorance is no defense.
I still think the guy that goes into Best Buy gets a bad rap. I bought my first drone at Best Buy.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. Did not say it was a bad thing.
There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have people,
I'm not saying that it is, but I'm saying, God, I mean, what I'm saying to you is that you got justice.
There was nothing in place when we flew. Please, well, a friend of mine that I used to follow, he bought his first Phantom, and the first thing he tried to do was see how high he could go before it didn't fly anymore. Okay.
That's because it came easy.
Yeah. and how many videos in the early days were flights from 1,800 feet up?
Well,
okay. Which proves something. You couldn't see anything from 1,800 feet up.
Okay. Do you remember how they first marketed the Phantom? With that shot over the Grand Canyon?
The Grand Canyon, where you can't fly.
You can't fly. Yeah. It's just like a lot of the videos and stuff I see here, and they advertise all these new places around the city.
Mm-hmm.
The first shot, the first 6 shots.
Statue of Liberty, Empire State
Building.
Shot.
No.
Freedom Tower.
No. I'm talking about the places around the city.
Oh.
Drone shots. And the first thing they tell you when you get out there with your drone, you can't fly here. He did in the commercial.
Yep. Yeah.
It's okay. We got people here.
Big Matt, they're still doing that, going 1,600 feet.
So don't worry.
Well,
look. I have my maximum altitude set to 1,640 feet, which is the maximum on my DJI drones. I fly as compliant as I can be and stay with under 400 feet. But as a Part 107 pilot, I'm authorized to fly within 400 feet of an object, okay, as long as I don't exceed 400 feet above the object. So that's why I have it set to 1,640 feet. Plus, I also am responsible as a Part 107 to maintain risk management on the aircraft. So if something happens that forces me above 400 feet, I have the ability to do it instead of possibly colliding with something. Okay. So I suggest that people have their altitude set higher than they normally travel, just so they have the flexibility to get around or above something should it get in their way. And DJI provides you that capability. Now, what upsets me is it only goes up to 1,640 feet. Okay. Right. So if I'm flying out along a mountain ridge, I can't sometimes get over the mountain ridge, even though I'm within 50 feet of that mountain ridge. I still can't crest it because it might be 1,700 feet up. And that, I think, causes a problem. So I'd like more flexibility in that regard without having to resort to something like no limit drones, to hack the controls.
And then there goes your,
because I carry insurance anyway. I put NLD on there, and I carry insurance, and something happens. Well, then I'm just flapping in the breeze at that point. So.
Right. Well, stuff like that.
Big Matt says, Tom, get an airplane and a Nikon.
Yeah, I got that, Big Matt. Forget who you're talking to, dude. Aerial photography's been a game for a while.
Well, we could put
Come
you in
fly.
that. Or we
Come
could
fly
put you
with
in
me,
that
Big Matt.
slingshot, Tom.
Support
you were
each
talking
other's
about.
channel. Support each other's channel, please. We've been failing to mention that. If you come in here, you say hi to someone, I've supported your channel, please do that. That's what it's all about. And keep clicking that like button also.
The-
And Bob, when I'm talking about cresting something and going high around something, I am trying to be as compliant as I can with the regs. Again, having additional certifications on top of your 107 helps too. If you turn around and look at the way that drones are used, you can have multiple visual observers along the way. You just have to maintain communications with them.
Right.
So, there's ways to get those shots and still be compliant with visual line of sight regulations.
True. I've seen a few scenarios with that, and I remember from the studying for the 107 when them talking about the use of radio and stuff like that.
Yeah, and just the way it's used in public safety today. I mean, if there's a fire building and you have, we call them exposures, right? Each side of the building is called an exposure. Exposure 1 is the one you're facing in front at the incident command post. But you'll have a visual observer at the corner of exposures 2 and 3, and then another visual observer at the corners of exposure 3 and 4. And you, as the pilot, are operating in front of the fire building. You can circumnavigate that entire fire building as long as you can maintain connectivity, as long as your observers can maintain that visual acuity of your aircraft. So, there's a whole load of ways to work around that. And now, in public safety, beyond visual line of sight is basically being piloted in a lot of areas right now.
Do me a favor, put your chat in the room. Let guys that are in the room support your channel. If you don't have Tom as if you're not supporting him on YouTube, you should be. Great videographer. FYI, for those of you who don't know, Tom's here in New York City with Herman and I, and his footage is great.
Oh yeah,
he takes support his channel.
I'm a camera drone guy.
So when he retires and
I'm
moves,
not an FPV guy.
When he retires and moves to the Midwest and starts doing live streams, you'll already have him supported.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
thanks, guys.
Yes.
You're gonna get all of those shots. I'd actually like to get out there and shoot though, Tom.
You gotta. Look.
I would probably go bananas out in the West.
Well, first off, I'd take you to one spot right away, just Red Rock Canyon, right out of Vegas. I mean, you fly into Vegas, you spend a night, playing around Vegas, and I pick you up in the morning, and we go out into Mother Nature, and it'll blow your socks off. Oh, just the colors. I mean, just it's breathtaking.
I know how true that is, Tom, because when I was 16, my uncle took me, we drove to north to South Carolina. And I kept asking my uncle, after we got past Delaware,
thanks, Lego.
After we got past Delaware into like Virginia area, I kept saying, what's that smell? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what is that smell? So we're in South Carolina. I'm like, it's even stronger here. It's driving me crazy. You know what he told me? It's called fresh air.
Yeah, it is. It's fresh air.
I was smelling the green. I was smelling the farms, the green, the earth, and coming from the. So I know that's true. So going out to the West, it's never leaving New York before. Thank you, Fly Girl, for supporting Tom. But never leaving New York at the age of 16. And then here's even funnier. On my last day there, I tried to get lost. My best friend was a pig and like this 7-year-old kid. who took me across this train trestle, and he's like, "Sir, it's okay." He's like, "Come on, walk across." He's jogging across. I'm like, I'm stepping across. But to make a long story short, I made it across, and it became my favorite spot there. So when we had to leave that day, I went to that spot. I'm like, "Oh God, I hope they forget me. I hope they leave me." I know they weren't, but they came and found me due to the little boy. He's like, "Oh, I know where he is." And coming back to New York, you know how you're riding up the Jersey coast and you see Manhattan skyline? So I'm like, "Uncle," my uncle's name was Francis. I'm like, "Francis, what is that cloud? What is that yellow cloud over the
That's the
city?" He
view.
says, "You breathe it every day."
Well, you know what's spectacular is when you see this Southwest art, it's always black and purples and oranges, right? And I always used to wonder, where do they get that color scheme from? Just be out there for sunset.
It's the
And you'll see it.
sunsets and
It's
the sky.
amazing. The
Yeah.
purples and the oranges and the reds and the, what's funny out there is you get up early in the morning to see clouds, very early in the morning at sunrise, because by I'd say an
They
hour
burn
after
off.
sunrise, there are
By
no more
midday, they burn
clouds.
off, right?
Right. And the bluest skies you've ever seen. Mother Nature's just amazing.
Thanks, Dave,
And
and
then
this for supporting Tom's channel.
thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. When you go up into the Rockies, when you go up into Sequoia, these places are just, they take your breath away. They really do, and it humbles you too. Okay, you realize you're part of something much
How
bigger.
minuscule you are in the grand
Yeah,
scheme of
it's
things.
humbling. And it's where people need to be put in place, man.
True.
Right? Yeah, you really do. You really need to understand you're part of something much bigger here, and we got to protect it. We got to do whatever we can to keep it. I mean, we're very fortunate in the United States, and those of you that don't live in the U.S. One thing about the U.S. is we got a little bit of everything in this country when it comes to topography. When it comes to
from
the sights and the scenes,
from snow to desert to ocean,
exactly.
everything in between.
From 40 below, okay, to 122 above, and I'm talking Fahrenheit, guys. So do your own Celsius conversions.
I haven't seen the entire country, but I've seen a lot because I actually drove here from Texas, and we made a few. We did a few roundabout trips in Texas. Like I went through San Antonio and El Paso, around the border areas and stuff like that. California.
Well, Rob, have a good night or a good
Nevada.
morning.
Have a good
good
evening.
Night.
Yes.
Good morning.
Get some sleep.
And we drove all the way back. We drove there. Well, we drove from New York to Alabama, and then from Alabama to Texas. And then I was in Texas for a while. Then we did a few places around Texas, and then we drove all the way back to New York. So I had a nice little adventure that summer. I got to see a lot of the country. Well, that you pass through on the way through.
I come across the country once on motorcycle, once by Amtrak from Frisco through Chicago to New York.
Right.
That was a blast.
Welsh Rob, thank you so much, man. We appreciate your support. And everyone else who comes in, everyone who lurks, we don't care. The fact that you're here supporting us means a whole lot.
Just enjoy the conversation, contribute to the conversation.
And you're not going to get a live stream where we're sitting here and we're looking at each other going, a humana.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Look, I didn't need to kiss the Blarney Stone to have the gift of gab. Okay, Mom gave that to me. Well, okay, it's a birthright.
Okay. I remember years ago, my wife told me something, and I have to concur with her. I used to be a high school teacher, and I am a big nerd on a lot of things. And she said, you like to hear yourself talk. And I was like, what do you mean? She says, you have teacher syndrome. It's like someone asks you, what's for dinner? And you're like, well, we can make this, and that. But if you don't want that, and I'll just go into this whole spiel on it. Tom, it's not hard. I understand totally. It's not hard at all, especially about something that you have a love for.
the gift of gab, and my patron saint is MacGyver.
You couldn't be
Okay.
around my father, Tom. You guys
So-
wouldn't go nowhere.
Yeah,
Isaac
well,
Newton
that's
said,
what
Isaac
happens
Newton said,
sometimes.
"I'm
I
just
tried-
like a." Isaac Newton said, "I'm just like a boy on the beach, discovering the shiny stone or shell, while a whole ocean of truth lays undiscovered before me."
Exactly.
I try not to
True.
ask him much of anything, Tom, because if you ask my father about, if you ask him, is there any more bologna in the refrigerator? You're liable to get the history on bologna.
Baloney.
Yeah, and I have that issue. Dave Enos, for some reason, I was under the impression that I had supported your channel, but I just made sure, and I have clicked it again. Bob Casey, I am already a supporter of your channel as well. I just realize, and I understand Billy Kyle and Ken Dono and a lot of these guys who have 35,000, 50,000. As much as I like to answer every comment, and I try my damnedest to do it, and I'm going to keep doing it until I can't, but
Ugh.
it's hard to get to everybody's damn page.
You get
It
too
is.
big.
It is. There's not enough hours in a day. If I could dedicate 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day to just responding to people's comments and stuff, it would be a little easier. Yeah,
Well, that's what I
Bob
said.
Casey,
I said
see,
I go through
353.
and I get alerts and I watch videos and I go on to the next one. A lot of time I don't get a chance to leave a comment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the issue.
But I'd like to say Wednesday nights with those guys, as well as Sunday nights with those guys, we appreciate each and every one of you who come to our live streams continuously and
Yes,
support
we do.
and support
Thank
us. Because when
Without
Herman
you, it
started
wouldn't be
this,
possible.
when we started this thing, we had no idea where we were headed, but I'm glad we did. Seriously.
Well,
And I'm glad Tom jumped on board too, because
well, I have to thank Tom because Tom has made a lot of the live stream easy for me, whereas that I bounce things off of Tom. And I always send you and Tom the news ahead of time, what we're gonna discuss, and and I always try to find something that's geared towards the guys that are in the chat, because most of the guys in the chat are hobbyists. They just want to fly. They just want to have, and I want to make sure that the conversation, a lot of stuff that we cover, keeps them in mind and keeps them thinking of where we are as the hobby is considered.
right, because it's not all about the little personal drones that you fly. And if you've been watching and listening to these live streams, you'll see we're talking about remote ID. We're talking about shit that's going to happen whether you.
Well,
like it or
we're
not.
talking about stuff that even if it doesn't impact you right now, it's going to trickle
It
down,
will.
right?
It
Yeah,
will.
It'll trickle down.
Period.
Look,
I agree.
I'll throw something out there right now. How many in the chat are thinking about buying the drone they're announcing tomorrow
Grant
that we all
Aerials.
know about? Okay.
Grant,
How many of you are going to buy the Mavic 2 Mini?
right.
Okay.
Grant
Or
Aerials.
Mavic Mini 2.
What you're saying, I've been thinking about starting a stream, but the time slots are hard to come by. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Listen closely.
Well, look.
I used to go
Canadian,
ahead, Tom, and then
look,
I'll come in.
If Roger had his way, there'd be no slots available. Okay. Did Roger make it today? I mean, and then you got Paul, who's absent today. Paul, that's the problem with coming up with a slot on your own, because you're definitely going to bounce into Paul at some point in time. The man who never sleeps.
We Thursday night, Ken Herron, the king of streams in the drone community, he's got Thursday night locked up.
Yeah, that's like trying to come out with an album or CD when Jay-Z or Mariah Carey or Celine Dion.
It's finding a good lead in, okay? If you can get the slot right after Ken and get enough marketing out there that his audience goes right into you, you're good as gold. Okay?
True.
It's like late night TV. Okay, same thing.
Yes. Now, as far as looking for a time slot, I'm going to tell you, I used to do internet radio. Okay. And I'm going to tell you the best times to have live streams is within the fall, going into the winter.
Well,
you know who your true fans,
it's funny.
You know who your true fans and subscribers are in the fall going into the winter, because when it gets warm, there's always a lull because nobody's home. No one wants to be in the house. But I can honestly tell you, no matter what time slot you pick, it's not a matter of picking toes. It's a matter of you being consistent.
Content.
And that's what YouTube is about.
Having content, being persistent, and plus, remember, your crowd doesn't have to necessarily all come from the live stream, right? So Merrill, 3D solo fly motor, still on the fence about the Mini 2 with a handle like 3D solo fly.
Yeah.
Why are you on the fence? What's holding you back?
Jump on it. Well, you know what, Tom? This last story that we had here.
Oh, he's got a Mavic Air too.
Oh, see, he's good.
So I got to be honest with you. If you have a Mavic Air 2,
I wouldn't.
I don't see the Mini 2 being a bird for you unless you're looking for a backup, or unless you're looking for the I don't want to register this particular drone.
Right, I'd be able to
right. You would actually, Tom is right, and because you have the Mavic Air 2,
you got everything right there.
It's almost like stepping down from what you have. I believe the Mavic Air 2 is so much better in so many ways. The Mavic Mini, the Mavic Mini, the Mavic Mini 2 are for that intro pilot. For Christmas, they're going to sell millions of them. Trust me.
This Mini 2 is going to.
Yes, they're going to sell millions of them. But I'm going to tell you something.
It might even become hard to get.
That Mini 2 cannot handle the same winds that your Mavic Air 2 can handle.
No, I mean, they upped it.
They
upped it.
But a lot of people think that, and you know that. Christmas Day, they go out there with their Mavic Mini or whatever their drone is, and Christmas Day, they go up, and the wind's blowing at 15, 20 miles per hour, 17 miles per hour, and it goes up, and they're like, where's my drone going?
Run out and buy a drone is looking at the price tag, Lawrence. And most
I mean, if you're looking for
buy these drones at Christmas time for like $150, $200, that thing's going in the tree anyway.
Well, the Walmart specials, exactly. Like I said, 1 million new drone pilots every Christmas morning, and the carnage on pine trees alone by Christmas night is incredible. So Motor's saying he thought of a second solid drone. Yeah, I mean, look, if you plan on crashing your Mavic Air 2 and want something to hold you over while you are exercising your DJI Care refresh, the Mavic Mini 2 would probably be a good buy.
Yeah.
But look, I'm a photographer
drone,
and I got to have my backup camera and all of that.
Right. For a second drone, I can honestly say you would be stepping backwards as a step as a second drone.
Your sensor's a bit smaller, but look.
Now, due to economics, I understand totally.
That's different.
I understand totally because when I got my DJI Bird, my Phantom, everybody else was flying the Mavic series. When I got my Mavic series, everyone was flying the Mavic 2 series. So it's not keeping up with the Joneses. It's what you can do economically, and you don't want to get the Mavic. And I'm saying this nicely and as best I can. You would be stepping backwards from getting
60 Bob, a 4K 30 in that little platform. You throw that in your glove box every day.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
that's what it's good
for. Well,
for.
Again, it's the best camera is the one you have with you. If it's one that's always going to be around, it's a good buy.
Now that's an investment. That's an investment.
Bob's got 143 flights on his Mavic Air 2. Let me ask you a question, Bob. Are you using the smart controller with this, or just the standard controller with your Mavic Air 2? And the reason I asked that is because, playing today, I was fortunate. I had a doctor's appointment, some medical testing in the morning so far. The doctor hasn't called me, so it probably means I'm not dying tonight. That's good. But after I got done, I wanted to burn off some batteries, and I stopped at Flushing Meadows real quick and threw up the Mavic Air 2 to burn off some batteries and play with some of the features. But
you got
one of the features I just fell in love with is the fact that the smart controller, when I put my video mode into 4K zoom, I now have a Mavic Zoom aircraft in that Mavic
Get out of here.
Air 2. And by using, remember, the standard controller only has one thumb wheel. Okay. But the smart controller has two thumb wheels. So one thing I can do now is I can zoom in using the right thumb wheel. I can zoom up to 2 times if I'm shooting 4K. I can shoot up to 2 times if I'm shooting 2.7K.
He has the
I can
standard
shoot up to
controller.
4 power.
No need for the smart controller. Bob,
Well,
Casey,
I'm telling you why, Bob, what the big difference is. Yes. So you can still use the zoom feature by now putting your finger on that where it says 1X next to your video button and either pushing up or down on it, you'll get the zoom feature, right? But because of the smart controller has the extra thumb wheel, it's so much easier
you can
to
zoom in
leverage that
smoothly.
zoom. And at 1080p, you got a 4 power zoom there, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
So yeah, I played around today a little bit with the parallax, doing the dolly zooms with it. It's not exactly like the Mavic 2 zoom, but boy, oh boy, did they build a nice feature into this. The Mavic Air 2 is impressing me every day. The other thing that impresses me, it's got a live target feature on it. So if Herman, you'd love this, man. You're flying over the lake and you got a nice sailboat going. You turn around and just click on the sailboat. It puts a little target around it and shows a little boat next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And now in spotlight mode, I can ascend up, okay, while
And stay
rolling
locked.
to the right,
stay locked on the bird.
and the camera stays locked on the target the whole time. So very sweet feature, very nice.
So they put more artificial intelligence into it.
Yeah, the smart modes are pretty incredible. Just that spotlight feature alone, and then the hype. Now you can do up to 40 something levels of waypoints in hyperlapse. But here's the thing: you can then save that. Okay, so you can set up all your waypoints and save it. So say you want to go out to Long Island City, and you want to shoot a hyperlapse of the morning sunrise, okay, and the orange glow against the buildings, and then come back in the afternoon and shoot it again, and then come back at night as the sun is setting and shoot it a third time, and then put all those hyperlapses together because they'll be perfectly synced up as long as you take off from the same spot. Okay. So you can set up this library of go up here, point to this, point to that, point to this, and land
and do
again.
It at each. You know what? That will explain
and precisely each time.
That'll explain how I saw someone here in New York do a side swipe of a bridge. They were moving sideways of a bridge, and they transitioned in that same exact frame to nighttime, from daytime to nighttime.
Well, now you know. I just lifted the curtain
doing
for
it
you.
manually, Lawrence, but that is.
Yeah, you can do it manually, but the height and perspective was the same.
To line it up.
When it transitioned, it actually went from daylight to nighttime.
So let me explain how this is very useful from a commercial standpoint. And I'm talking to a guy who loved to film buildings going up, right? Use that same feature, Lawrence.
Okay.
In your construction site survey. So you set it up once.
I have that
and you
issue.
Come back once a week, and you take off from, I can take a can of orange spray paint and draw myself an X.
You know what?
Construction site.
I was concerned about that.
Spot.
I was concerned about that with this construction site that I was shooting. I was trying to make sure that I take off from the general area and go to a general height in that same spot all the time.
Yeah.
Before I reveal a building, because it's hard to show a building in a time lapse unless you have that same.
Yeah, and the way you would do it.
And I've been recording it for 2 years.
The way you do it with the bigger birds, you're using Pix 4D. You're spending lots of money on that kind of stuff.
Right.
Your Latin longs are all set up, your GPS coordinates. Yeah. Well, basically what you would do is you would come out and you'd use a GPS transit and you'd identify your spot. And remember, when you're doing site surveys, you're using fixed targets also, and they have to be precisely. So you're still using your survey equipment to put those things in place. And that's how you got them before. Now You take a $600-700 drone, mark off your waypoints in the air, and fly that same thing over and over again with a level of precision that wouldn't have even been thought about a year ago. Okay,
it's true.
And
You're
not
right.
at that price point.
You're
So-
right. And
so that's
I've been
amazing.
recording this building for 2 years now. They confirmed that after the new year, they should be finished with the exterior of the building and the scaffold to be coming down. And I was explaining to the general contractor as well as the building owner there that I need a shot of both to finalize the video. I need a shot of both buildings with the brick and the scaffold down. That'll be a main shot. And then I also need the same building at night because that's how I want to end the video. I want to transition the building growing, both buildings, show the final product, and then transition to a night shot of the building and then end like that.
Yeah, Merrill 3D Solo Fly said that's what he was doing today. In fact, he was playing around with that and how it saves your waypoints.
Lawrence wouldn't.
And if you take off near your saved waypoint, it goes right back to the exact spot. Now, what I experienced was I knew exactly where I took off, so I just kept on playing with that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, man, it was right on.
We
it
have
was
to
right on
calculate.
station.
We have to calculate. On this day, it was sunny and the wind was 10 miles per hour, and I was at 300 feet at this spot. So I need to go up to 300 feet at this spot and compensate for wind. Now you don't have to do that anymore. Hey, Paul Murray just launched a video. I'm blowing you up. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Well, one of the things we were going to talk about tonight was what is Section 2209? Now, I know a lot of guys may not be familiar with it. I saw this article in Drone Life, and I brought it to you guys' attention because I think that this is something that might interest guys a lot more than a lot of things that they worry about. You know, this thing here, it's a part of the FAA extension of Safety and Security Act of 2016.
Operating near critical
locations. So this here describes
I know a lot about
process to allow state government to apply for FAA airspace.
AFPV, Joel.
Now,
yes, that's correct.
I know that
critical infrastructure,
right?
Identifying as no flight zones. Yeah,
exactly. But from what I've understanding and what I've seen with these type of things, based on this article, you know, this was something that should have been taken care of 6 months after it was introduced. But now they're saying that we won't see an NPRM on this until maybe about February of next year.
Yeah, there's a lot involved here, okay? It's the ability for individual locations to identify no-fly zones and have those acted upon in a quick, efficient manner. Because under the rulemaking guidelines is you have to be able to identify how quickly you can act on that, what the turnaround time is. So there's a lot involved. Critical infrastructure is a key component of public safety, identifying that. We have a lot of critical structures within the New York City area. I'm not going to go into it any further than that, just to say there are reasons not to fly over certain areas. When you look at power plants, when you look at look at the problem DOJ is having with the Bureau of Prisons, right? Being able to safeguard those, and you have to identify those as no-fly zones to protect drones from just being used to fly contraband over the prison system, right? If you can do that and you can do it programmatically and build it into the software, it's another level of security that prevents, like I went down with Eddie Nunez to fly in Philly, and I couldn't fly over the old prison there, Eastern State Penitentiary, because it's still designated as a prison.
I understand that. Yeah. The thing what I'm starting to see though with this, and this is also was mentioned, I think, in the article, talking about that, you know, state, you know, local and state government, they're no longer going through this process that they've gone a step further, and they're starting to implement their own things without going through this process.
Well, again, this is the problem we have. You know, we use the misnomer United States. Okay, we're 50 different locations and hundreds of different sub locations within those locations, and everybody wants to have a say in it.
Right. We all know the incident.
Imagine if manned aviation had to refigure out the flight rules every time they crossed a geographical border. And that's why I think it's bad business when you give too much authority at the local level for something that is really at the federal level.
True.
Okay.
But this is like what
it becomes a quagmire of regulation and rules.
Case there in Michigan with the guys that were flying in the park. We've seen that case. That's a situation of local government,
local authority going overboard.
Right, going overboard. We see the incident that happened with Mr. Benson there in Louisiana.
Because he flew over some retired cop's property, and the retired cop knew the ADA, and the ADA knew somebody, and I donated to his cause. Okay, but local jurisdictions going above and beyond, outside of their realm, and again, if anything stunts technology, over regulation does.
True.
Okay.
True, but so what they're saying is that some of the restrictions, though, that are put in place by local government are more broad than what Congress said.
Well, it's interpretation of the rules, right? I mean, if you can write with a level of ambiguity, nobody can ever figure out whether they can or not. I mean, that's what's ridiculous. You get 3 lawyers in a room, you'll never know what they said. Okay.
True.
By the time they're done,
and I've always been skeptical.
There'll be the deforestation of a portion of the Amazon as a result.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the 3 lawyers, Tom, because I always thought something was fishy when both lawyers walk up to the judge and they chuckle.
Well, they're talking about the back 9 and how they're going to get back to it as soon as they can. As soon as they can get as much out of the 2 parties as they can, okay?
Well, the defendant already gave me that big check.
You realize how, in legal world, you actually talk about your client as a party, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so. And if we want to get into lawyer jokes, I can go on for days, so let's not start. It's already 10 minutes too.
No, but I found that this here was interesting because this is the thing that most guys are actually out there complaining about. Not so much that the fact of critical infrastructure. We get that. I understand that. Flying around critical infrastructure is part of the reason why they want remote ID.
Right.
The thing is that what I can't understand is that the incidents where you can't fly from this park or you can't fly over here. We don't want you to fly. It comes down to a whole lot of the local governments and local municipalities are saying, not being told that, listen, you can't do this to people. And the FAA is not stopping.
I just got a news flash that there's hundreds of demonstrators in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't care.
I don't think the results are in yet, so.
I don't care.
They shouldn't be.
I'm here. I got food in the fridge. I'm good. I don't have to go outside.
Yeah, well,
Brooklyn will be
again. It'll be a while before we figure out who's running this country. Well, and then even after that, we're not sure who's running the country.
If they don't want it, if those 2 guys.
I'm so in the habit of deleting junk mail. After I read it, I was like, damn, I should have read it before I deleted it.
It was a Citizen app notice. Good old Citizen.
Drone Shot says, pick your own jury. Stand up for yourself, your rights. You want to know what Drone Shot?
Problem is,
we tried.
The worst lawyer you can get is you yourself.
Yeah.
But
Eat More Possum, how are you? Does Paul Murray have an Inspire one? Paul Murray, Eat More Possum has had about 4 or 5 Inspire ones. He keeps having the same issue with Lightbridge, which is having he can't fly around the ships.
We're 264 electoral votes to 214 electoral votes. And Nevada's waiting till tomorrow.
Or are they zombies? a show. I don't know which one I would prefer out of that bunch.
What?
No politics, but what's really going to change tomorrow if Biden wins? That's what I'm saying. No more politics. Big Mac. Tom mentioned something earlier, and yeah, what was it, Tom? You feel like a stepchild or something? What
Yeah,
was it?
well, yeah, the stepchild who has to listen to both parents arguing in the other room, okay, and who's going to get stuck with you, you know, the
After the
problem,
divorce.
yeah, and neither one,
Used
and
to
the
that.
problem is you're hearing neither one wants you, okay,
You should be used
so
to that by now, Tom. That's what
well, you know, look, there needs to be a
always do.
constitutional convention because there needs to be a 28th Amendment that says you can be in this job for 8 freaking years, okay? And you got to move on to a higher office or move on to a different office. You can't stay in the same. Mitch McConnell is there for how damn long, okay? And please, I can name as many Democrats that have said Nancy Pelosi. Jesus Christ, she died like fucking 5-6 years ago. Somebody forgot to tell her, okay? These people have been in office for 20, 30, 40 years. Okay? Tell me they're still invested in their constituents. Okay? So that's why I think you got to start with you can be this. And the other thing is, if you're in the Senate or the House, okay, you're in Congress,
Hey, check this out.
You're in the same Social Security system as the rest of us. No private
I'm
pension plans and free medical insurance for the rest of your natural life and your family's natural life. You need to be in the same systems the rest of us are in, so you know what we're going through.
Yeah, I
Okay,
agree
I'm
with
done.
that.
I'm done.
Eat More Possum says, a Paul Mary in Port Huron just brought my Inspire battery on eBay. 99% chance it's the Paul Murray that we
It's a
know.
Paul Murray. Yeah.
Let me tell you
would
something.
guarantee it.
eBay, when they have drone drop-offs, his house is going to be a hub for the whole part of Michigan.
It's possible because you know what they say. If it's a drone.
Yo, what's good, Invincible Storm? How are you?
Anthony, how are you, bro?
Anthony, what's good, man?
Good, man.
Good to see
if you want to sell it, look Paul up and sell it to him first.
Yeah, you guys want to see some phenomenal footage from New York City? Check out Invincible Storm. Go to Tom's channel. Check out Phantom Flight 101s.
Yeah, check everybody
Paul
out.
Murray, he was lurking. He just put guilty. There you go, Eat More Possum. Paul Murray just bought a Phantom, an Inspire battery from you on eBay. Yes, it was Paul Murray. See?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
What has he got? Like 10 Inspire? He got a garage full now, Paul?
He's got a fleet.
He's got his own fleet.
Listen.
He's got his own Air Force.
I don't understand it, but I don't understand why you've owned so many Inspires. But I hope you find that one Inspire that does everything you want it to do.
Paul chimed in.
What's good, Invincible Storm? I haven't even got a chance to look at that footage from today. I saw yesterday's footage on the beach. Under the Army Corps of Engineers, Tom, is out here.
Yeah, they're dredging.
No. They are taking the jetties apart, and they were lining up the rocks along the beach, and we thought that they were building a retainer wall. What they're doing is they're taking all of the jetties apart in one section of the peninsula where I live.
Yeah.
And they're widening them and making them longer. Because particular section of the beach in the winter, by the time they've packed, we have new boardwalks. They pack the sand under with concrete under the boardwalk. And every year the water breaches it and goes to the other side of the boardwalk into the community. So now they're hoping with these larger, bigger.
They're breakwaters, basically, the jetties.
Right. In fact, Herman, you mind if I share real quick? I just want to show you guys something that they're doing out here real quick. Let's go to this.
To show some video footage that you got.
Well, I'm not going to show any video footage, but I'll show some pictures. Okay, here we go. Beach under construction. Here's a picture. Let me go. Control. There's a picture.
Go to the one after.
And this guy yesterday, the winds were 50 miles per hour. He just extended the land to this point.
I love how
Today,
they're out in the breakwater doing this.
yes,
too.
they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And these boulders, they have numbers and letters on them. The
Yeah,
letters,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what they mean, but the numbers
Yeah, that's
mean
stacking
the
order.
tonnage.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
it's
Exactly.
stacking order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And hold on. Let me see if I can mute this first. But this guy here is dropping off gravel now. He's going out further and further out into the water. Today, he was literally out in the water. Let's see where, if I can get some footage from today. Hold on. All right, well, we'll show a little video real quick. Let me see if I could fast forward. But he's out in the water on this left side of the screen. I'm going to turn around and look at him, as you see in a second. But the wind was so bad, I had to go upwind and come back at him. Hold on. There we go. He's off to the left here. I'm trying to find the right footage.
No, I
there
saw it when you first came
out in the water here.
Yeah.
But yesterday he was here at this point where you see my mouse.
Yeah.
He's extended the land, and they're going to carry the jetties out maybe about to the end where he's digging now and drop some really big rocks and ballast and stuff. But I'll try and record as much of it as I can. Now, if I can get out of here and give you control back. But it's cool. I have a lot of footage, and I look forward to compiling it and putting it together to make some kind of video. Plus, the guy from the Army Corps of Engineer, he told me, he said, look, as long as my supervisor and the big bosses aren't around, you can fly. But if anyone catches you down there, I don't know nothing about it. And I was like, I completely understand, sir. I'm in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to
and it's just good. I've never saw a jetty being taken apart. When I was a little boy, they built those jetties to prevent the corrosion of the beach.
Yeah, the erosion
along the beach away and stuff
like
that.
Yeah.
But now they're taking them apart and they're making them double the size they were, and they're making them longer. So,
and this is all the Army Corps of Engineers.
I need to get out there with a camera drone and catch
well, another thing they did was
to
stop the beach from washing you guys out.
Why can't?
Yeah, well, you start losing beach, more and more beach. You got nothing to protect you, right?
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry, I had I had a speaker turned down, so I couldn't hear you guys.
It's about that time.
Sure is.
It's 7 o'clock, and
it's good to see as many people we saw in here tonight too, right?
Yes, it's usually a good turnout.
Visitors. Yeah.
The mishap.
Always good to see Eddie Nunez. Good to see Anthony Charles.
Yes, Anthony Charles, man, you need to get up out here. You should see what you're doing.
Paul Murray snuck in.
All the way to Beach 20th Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people came in tonight.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, check it out. You know what goes on here Wednesday night. Wednesday night with those guys is sponsored by those guys. And you guys on the panel, Tom, Lawrence, I'd like to thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Making
it
easier being here with you guys. And guys, thank you very much for hanging out with us. For without you, none of this would be possible. And I'll see you next time on Phantom Flight 101 with those guys.
Later.
Peace out.